Welcome to WHHI News. I'm Allie McNair, and here's a look at your headlines. Well, the decision to pull 97 books from Beaufort County School District libraries isn't necessarily final. Superintendent Frank Rodriguez will appoint members of a materials reconsideration committee to read those books and then recommend whether or not they're appropriate for middle and high schoolers. No timeline has been set for completing the reading and review of those books. Meanwhile, the school board will look at its policy on buying library books at its meeting next Tuesday. Well, a Yemassee man is facing murder charges after a deadly shootout at a rural Jasper County home. The Jasper County Sheriff's Department says 27-year-old Jordan Fields was arrested after that shooting on Tuesday night. According to the coroner, the victim was shot multiple times and died before EMS crews could get him to the hospital. The name of the victim has not yet been released. Sharon Versip will be the first women's basketball coach in the history of USC Beaufort. The announcement came this week, and it follows that of hiring Ron Fadala as the first coach for the men's team. Versip was the winningest coach in Purdue history with 301 victories. She led Purdue to 4 Big Ten tournament championships, 9 NCAA tournament appearances, and 2 Elite 8 appearances. Now the Sand Sharks will play in the 2023-2024 school year in NCAA Division II basketball. And speaking of the University of South Carolina, the school announced Wednesday that it will drop the word "of" in its U of SC branding. The school announced its plans in order to simplify its academic branding, and that also includes a new USC Spirit logo. The tree and gates logo will remain the official academic logo for the university. South Carolina is among the top 10 in the rankings for most luxury-obsessed states. Well, that's according to a study by Chrono24, which is a luxury watch marketplace. It took Google Trends data from the past year from Google searches of luxury goods. Scores were based on searches for these terms: luxury, luxury cars, luxury goods, luxury vacations, and luxury apartments. South Carolina ranked 9 out of 10, and coming in at number 1 was New York. Well, you might think pickleball is just for fun, but that's not true for everyone. Some of the best players in the world are at Palmetto Dunes through the weekend to play. Nearly 1,000 players are competing for $65,000 in prize money. The winners will get the chance to play in the national championships, which take place in California next spring. For details on these stories and more, be sure to check on the news sources on your screen. Also, be sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you have a story idea, please email us at news@WHHITV.com. Well, now it's time for a look at sports, and here he is, Justin Jarrett.
Hey, it's time for Last Night in the Loco on WHHI, powered by LocoSports.com. When USCB launches its basketball programs next year, the Sand Sharks will play in the NCAA Division II Peach Belt Conference. But their women's program will be led by the winningest coach in program history at a Big Ten school, Purdue. Longtime Boilermakers coach Sharon Versip will end a brief retirement to be USCB's first women's basketball coach, giving the Sand Sharks a big name boost to get the program off the ground. Versip retired just over a year ago following a first act of her career that saw her claim 418 wins against 257 losses across 5 seasons at Maine, 1 at Indiana, and 15 at her alma mater Purdue, where she compiled 300 wins and 194 losses and led the Boilermakers to 4 Big Ten tournament titles and 2 Elite 8 appearances. USCB's release announcing the hire included glowing blurbs from legendary Maryland coach Brenda Frese, Iowa coach Lisa Bluter, and Purdue football coach Jeff Brom, among others. USCB previously named Ronald Fudala as its first men's basketball coach, nabbing the top assistant from perennial D2 power Indiana, PA. Fudala was on the bench for 3 of the most successful seasons in IUP's history, helping oversee 91 wins, 3 conference titles, and a trip to the D2 Final Four last spring. Fudala has been a quick riser in the coaching ranks, and he has the energy and enthusiasm to build a winning program. For Loco Sports and WHHI, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Loco.
Thank you, Justin. Now, coming up next, we're going to get some tips on how to keep your children safe when they're surfing on the internet. Later, we're going to hear from Diane Fisher-Simmons, our correspondent, about upcoming theater events. That should be lots of fun. And what's happening with the real estate market. Guess who'll be here? James Wedgeworth, and he'll let us know if things have really slowed down. We'll be right back.